What's going on there, YouTube? Welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we're going to continue our coverage over the Thing Space Ranger story arc. Let me explain. So back in the 1980s, when it came to Marvel Comics, they got really popular. And with them getting really popular, they began to give all their different characters their own kind of books. For example, The Thing. Now, he had his own ongoing series, but by issue number 11, you had Marvel realize that they wanted to do something different with the character. So when it came to the original Secret Wars, at the end of that story arc, you had Ben Grimm realize that he now had the ability to turn back into his regular human form. But here's the catch though, he could only do it on Battle World. And so because of that, he said, you know what? I want to go ahead and stay on Battle World to kind of figure out things for my own personal life, but also to enjoy the idea of being able to, turn back into a regular human. And so for Marvel, they turned this idea into a 12-part story arc. Now, we already covered the first 3 chapters, and now it's time for us to cover the next 3 chapters of this story arc. Now there is another character we have to talk about, and that would be Tariana. Now Tariana is a character we saw in our last video. Let me explain. So when it came to Ben Grimm, he was able to find this small village in the middle of Battle World, except this village was put there by, well, Dr. Doom. You see, when it came to the original Secret Wars, you had Dr. Doom being able to walk away and set up a projector that had projected an exact copy of Doomstadt, a big city back in Latveria back on Earth. Now, when it came to Ben Grimm, when he found this exact copy of Doomstadt, he actually believed it was the real Doomstadt, not realizing it was just a projection. Either way, when he did go inside the actual area, well, we kind of find out the people there were kind of like Vikings, just being great warriors trying to achieve greatness. But either way, once you have Ben Grimm being able to go inside Doom Castle, he kind of find out that it was Dr. Doom who had made this village by using some kind of projector. Now, Ben Grimm was able to get rid of that projector, but the big problem was after doing that, the entire village disappeared, and all the people who had lived in that village except for Tariana. Now, for Ben Grimm, he believes the only reason why she's still here because his connection to Battle World, but also because Battle World is connected to his mind. And in Battle World knows that Ben Grimm really wants her around. And the reason why? Because he has fallen in love with her. And so getting into today's video, we actually pick up with Ben Grimm and also Tariana being able to find a random spaceship just laying out in the middle of Battle World. Now for Ben Grimm, this is great because we have to remember that Ben Grimm used to be a pilot back in the day. So being able to see a spaceship just laying out in the middle of Battle World, for Ben Grimm, this is great because now he might have the ability to actually fly it. Now, Ben Grimm does realize that, well, the spaceship does look pretty damaged, like it was left behind many years ago. But for Ben Grimm, it's still a cool idea to try to actually, fly it. But then out of nowhere, you have Ben and Tariana being attacked by a random group of spaceships flying in the air. Now, luckily for Ben and Tariana, they were able to hide in the one they found earlier. But the problem is, Ben wants to use that spaceship as a way to follow that group or to at least hit that group back for attacking them. But the problem is, Ben has no idea how to fly the thing. But then you have Ben kind of realize that if he is able to turn back into his regular human form, he might know of a way to actually fly it and then use it to follow that group. And so you have Ben turn back into a regular human. And once he does that, apparently he now knows how to fly this thing. But here's the big problem though. You see, this is an alien spaceship. For Ben to be able to just easily figure out is very confusing. And for Ben, he kind of wants to know how in the world was he able to figure things out. But while you have been trying to follow that group, he see that same group now attacking another group of people who are just on the ground minding their business. Now for Ben, that is not okay, because now the first group is attacking a group of innocent people. And so you have been going out of his way to protect those people. But it's also kind of reminding us that how great of a pilot Ben was before he became a member of the Fantastic Four. Either way, you do have Ben being able to take out that group that was attacking the innocent group. And once he does that, he lands a spaceship to talk to the innocent people. Now, once you have Ben being able to sit down with this group, we do learn that they are an alien race called the Turek. Now, the other group we saw earlier, the ones who attacked them, well, they're a race called the Silbeans. Now, apparently, these two races have been at war against each other for many, many years. The problem is, though, neither group does remember why they're at war against each other, because this war has been lasting for hundreds of years. Now, here's the problem, though. You see, for Ben, that makes no sense because Battle World was only created about 2 weeks prior from this point in Marvel's timeline. So how in the world can these two races be at war against each other when this world was only created about 2 weeks ago? Now, we also learned that apparently the Tureks are no longer trying to fight back against the Silbeans. And the reason why? Because they lost the willpower to fight back. Because they don't know what's the point of their war. But the problem is the Silbeans are attacking them at least twice a month, killing off their people slowly. And for Ben, that is not okay at all, because sooner or later, this race right here is going to be wiped out completely. So you have Ben say, you know what? How about this? I'm going to teach you guys how to fight back. I'm going to help you guys regain your willpower to fight back so that you guys do not get completely wiped out. And just like that, they agree. And so you have Ben now being a leader. Now for Ben, this is huge because by this point in Marvel Comics, he was never the leader of a group. The Fantastic Four had Reed. And besides that, it was only Reed. And so for Ben, it's like, okay, this is my time to shine, to show everyone that I do have the ability to actually lead a group of people. Now, some time has passed by, and we do see that Ben was able to get this group back in shape, or what he believes is back in shape, because now he believes they should be ready to fight against the Silbeans. But the problem is, the Silbeans do arrive, and we do get another battle between these two groups. But the problem is, the Silbeans are able to win easily over the Turek and Ben. And for Ben, that is a huge problem because this man had built up so many plans that he believed that could most likely help them win the next battle against the Silbeans. But now all his plans had officially failed. And for Ben, he kind of feels like he's doing a horrible job as a leader. Now, at the tail end of this battle, you did have a Turek say, you know what, Ben, we're done trying to fight back. Unfortunately, we're no longer fighters. We lost that battle very easily. And so that is another reason why Ben feels like he's not really good at being a leader. But after you have been realized that maybe he was not made to be a leader, you then have been realized that, oh, he's the muscle of the group. And so you have been going out of his way to use his skills as a pilot to take down all the other jets that belong to the Silbeans. Now, after doing that, you then have Ben and Tariana say goodbye to the Turek, saying like, listen, I realized that I was not made to be a leader. I was made to be the muscle you use to handle a certain kind of problem. But either way, you do have Ben and also Tariana leave for their next adventure. But now we enter the next chapter of this story arc where we do pick up with Ben and also Tariana continuing their adventure around Battleworld. But while doing that, you did have Ben begin to lose control of the actual spaceship. It's no longer trying to follow any of the orders that he is giving it. And so now you had a spaceship just flying all over the place. Now you didn't have Ben see a nearby city. And so for Ben and also Tariana, they're going to have to do a hard landing to land in that city to hopefully find somebody who could fix the ship, but also gather information about this area. And so you do have Ben and Tariana have a very hard landing in this new town. Now, unfortunately for Ben, he does have a minor car accident, or a spaceship accident to be more exact, because he does crash the spaceship right into the back of another spaceship. Now, the owner of the other one is not around, and to Ben, it's not a big deal because the other spaceship barely has a scratch on it. And so you have Ben saying, you know what, let's go ahead and move on, see if we are able to find anybody who can most likely help us, but also gather information about this area as well. And the best place to do that is to go to the town bar. Now, once you have Ben and Tariana being able to walk into the bar, they did kind of realize that every single person in that bar, they kind of look a tad bit rough looking around the edges. So for Ben, they have to be on their guard because they realize that they could easily set anybody off in the bar and possibly get into a bar fight. Now, this section is also kind of giving us another example that Ben really does love Tariana a lot, to the point where it kind of seems like he wants to stay on Battleworld so that he'll be able to be with her and possibly, marry her. Either way, you did have our two characters be confronted by another character in the bar, and that would be Gruel. Now, Gruel is just a random person in the bar, but he saw Tariana and found her very attractive, and he wanted to get with her. Now, Ben Grimm does not like the idea of anybody trying to get with his lady. Now, Gruel does punch Ben and thinking that he took Ben down. But then you have Ben get right back up and he punched Gruel in the face into the wall and kind of says, okay, you know what? Bar fight is over. Ben wins. As a matter of fact, Ben and also Tariana are going to leave. But while they are leaving, they see that a group of people are actually watching them. Now, for Gruel, he hates the idea that he had just lost to Ben Grimm. And so because of that, he goes out of his way to grab a cannon called the Tentorian PZ Lanta. And he wants to use the cannon on Ben Grimm. And we hear the cannon is so powerful, it can instantly kill anybody in its path. Now, with that being said, though, while you have Ben and Tariana walking around, they don't realize they're being tailed by Gruel. And you have Gruel go ahead and take the shot. Except for Ben, he's lucky that he found a wallet on the ground, because when he does see the wallet, he bends over and Gruel's shot completely misses. Now, Ben does not realize that he was just shot at, because right now he's trying to get that wallet, and apparently the wallet is tied to a string and being pulled to a different part of the city. Now, Tariana, she saw what happened and she can't believe what just happened, that her boyfriend here almost just got killed. But Ben, he's all like, man, I'm trying to get this wallet. I'm trying to get that money in that wallet. And Gruel, he's just ticked off that he just missed. But you do have Tariana tell Ben, like, hey, you almost got killed. Like, you completely missed what almost happened to you. Now, for Ben, he believes it's some kind of joke. But for Tariana, that's no joke at all. Now, you have the two characters walking around, but then out of nowhere, you have our mysterious group of people begin to throw eggs at Ben. Now, Ben does get very upset. But then you have Gruel try something else as a way to kill off Ben. You see, he decides to use the cannon, shoot up cannonballs, and have the cannonballs go to the exact location of where Ben is at. And so while you have Ben and Tariana talking to one another, well, out of nowhere, all these cannonballs begin to come at Ben Grimm. Now, luckily, Ben was able to change into his thing form to take the hit. But after doing that, he realized who has been trying to kill him off. It's Gruel. And for Ben, That's not okay at all. So now it's time for Ben to have some clobbering time with Gruel's face. Now, once you have Ben being able to catch up to Gruel, you also have Tariana being able to find the group of people who have been messing with them while Ben and her have been inside the city. Now, we do learn that this group of people are very angry with Ben Grimm, and here's the reason why. Because remember, in the earlier part of this chapter, Ben had to do a hard crash landing, but when he did that, he rear-ended another spaceship. That other spaceship belonged to, well, these group of people. And so they are very upset with Ben Grimm, like, you had scratched our vehicle, and that was not okay at all. So we decided to get payback on you. Now, they do help Ben out saying, listen, the cannon that Gruel is using, its main goal is to seek out powerful people. If you are able to grab it and think of someone powerful than you, then the cannon will teleport away over to that person. And so you have been grab the cannon and think of Galactus. And just like that, the cannon is gone. It is instantly teleported over to Galactus. Now, with that being said, you have Ben and Tariana decide that, you know what, they just need to leave the city, and they walk out. Now, there is a special reason why we have this whole chapter here for. Let me explain. You see, those small creatures are actually analogs for another group of characters, but back on Earth, better called the Yancey Street Gang. You see, over the years in Marvel Comics, we have learned that Ben Grimm is from Yancey Street, a street in New York. Now, with that being said, over the years, you had the gang kind of mess with things in different kinds of ways. But over the years, you have been in the gang being able to build a bond with one another. And so these small creatures are analogs for that gang back on Earth. Now, we have not reached a point where this whole entire story arc comes together, because that comes at the very end of the story arc, part 12 of 12. But once we do get there, everything will make sense of what in the world is going on in this story arc. But either way, you do have Ben and Tariana leave to continue on their next adventure. But getting into the final chapter for today's video, we do pick up with Ben Grimm and Tariana climbing a mountain. Now, while they are climbing this mountain, you didn't have Ben Grimm kind of tell us that he's once again gaining more feelings for Tariana, that he really does want to be with her. Now, with that being said, you do have the two characters being able to make it to the top of the mountain. And when they do, well, it does seem like they're going to have some alone time being able to make out with one another. But the problem is, the ground opens up, grabs Ben Grimm, he falls in the crack, and then you have the ground close up. And now Ben is lost inside this mountain, while you have Tariana on the top of the mountain wondering how in the world is she going to be able to get back to Ben Grimm. Now, you do have Ben and also Tariana continue to walk around the mountain, really inside and outside the mountain. For Ben, inside, her outside. Either way, you have Ben trying his best to find a tunnel that can lead outside the mountain, while you have Tariana trying her best to find a way inside the mountain. Now, you have both our characters realize that it seems that the world is trying to keep them apart. Every single time it seems like these two characters are going to be able to establish some kind of relationship, well, then something happens to keep them apart, or something happens to keep them busy. Like right now, the whole idea of the mountain basically eating Ben Grimm. Now, you have Ben kind of think about the idea of going back home to Earth, because let's not forget that Reed Richards gave Ben a device that can teleport Ben back home to Earth. But Ben's not ready to go yet. One, he loves the idea of having the ability to turn back to normal. And two, Tariana, the woman he loves. Either way, you have our two heroes continue on to hopefully find a way to get back to one another. Now, things get even crazier for our heroes. You see, you have Ben being able to continue on one tunnel. But when he does that, he is confronted by other creatures that look just like him. like the Thing, and you have been wondering what in the world is going on here. But you do have these creatures grab in and they go deeper into the tunnels. Now, for Tariana, she does find a way into the actual mountain, except the tunnel she finds, well, inside of it is a bunch of skeletons. And she's kind of wondering what in the world is going on inside this mountain. But then the skeletons come to life and they begin to attack her. But now we jump back over to Ben Grimm. Now you have Ben Grimm now being held as a prisoner by all these creatures, all these things. Now with that being said though, with him being a prisoner, he also realized that he is unable to change his form back into his thing form to kind of show them that he's one of them. Because right now they believe that he is trespassing in their territory and they want to get rid of him. Now with him being their prisoner, they begin to search him. And when they do, they find the device he needs to get back home. The same one Reed gave him. And one of them runs off with it. Now, Ben is able to break away. And he is able to kind of chase down that one creature. But the other ones, the other things, they're also chasing him down as well. And so for Ben, he realized even if he's able to catch that one that has his way home back to Earth, the other ones are gonna catch up and they're gonna beat him down. And so Ben has no choice but to go ahead and let that one get away, but to also hide from the others. Now, he does find a different tunnel to take, and he does take that tunnel. The problem is it leads into another thing, except this one seems a whole lot older and a whole lot wiser. Now we do learn the name of this thing, and her name is Laura Gudma. Now Laura Gudma is going to help out Ben here by saying, hey listen, I'm going to hide you in my home right now. So when the other things come by looking for you, they can't find you. But on top of that, I'm going to tell you how to get the heck out of here as well. Now we also see that when she looks at Ben, she kind of realized that he has a very soft soul, a gentle soul, but also she feels like he's hiding something, another side to him. Either way, you do have Laura being able to tell Ben how the heck get out of here by saying go back to the square where you came from, but take this path right here, and then most likely you'll be able to get out of these tunnels. Now, right after you have Ben leave her home, we see her change form and we see her begin to laugh very evil-like, very bad guy-like. So now we know that really her name is not Laura Gudma, she's somebody else. The question is, who is she? Now you do have Ben trying his best to sneak out of the tunnels the same way that Laura Gudman told him to go. But the problem is, while trying to sneak out, you have Ben remember that, well, those creatures are still holding on to his device, the same one he needs to use to get back home to Earth. And so Ben has no choice but to go ahead and go back into their tunnels. But the problem is, well, an earthquake has started inside the actual mountain, and now those caves are going to be caved in very soon. Now Ben realized that it's one person causing this earthquake, our mysterious character. But when you have Ben try to grab that character, well, he's able to vanish in a matter of seconds, just gone in the wind, and Ben is unable to, well, stop him. Now, we do see our mysterious character being able to teleport over to where Tariana is at, and he grabs her and disappears. Now, Ben has no idea that she has just been grabbed, but now we know that currently she is that guy's hostage. Now, because Ben was trying to save these creatures from this earthquake, they realize that Ben is actually a good person, so they hand over his device. And you have Ben now being able to leave, except when he goes down a particular tunnel, well, he finds the sword of Tariana. And now he realized that most likely she has been grabbed. And now his next goal is to find her. But we'll see what happens in our next video. So this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.